Greetings from the Goats Garage. We are here at Ruapuna Raceway for the 15th of August test day in the Formula Subaru. Hi Dan, it's Dan. He helps me with the car. He very graciously offered me a drive in this fine piece of machinery. It's a Formula Subaru that we're going to be running in this summer's historical Formula Ford class. She's a 1981 and we call her Bella, and it's an absolute joy to be able to drive her. But I was off into the car, hopping down the pit lane, head on out for a bit of a drive.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Sweet.
Good.
Did a test session about a month ago, but it was far too cold and miserable. I was a little bit shy about driving. Kind of like this exhaust trumpet that's going to leave the chat out of link. So I thought I'd better, learn what the pedals do off camera before I try to make any sort of content, because as I'd learned, it is a bit of a handful trying to drive and video stuff at the same time, even though it's just placing a bunch of cameras and switching them on. So as well as testing the car and the changes that we've done on them, I was playing around with camera placement and where I kind of like things. So you can see here I've chucked my little 360 guy on the hoop. And then we've got a chin strap on my helmet to give you this delicious angle. And hopefully they'll let me run that in the series. We'll just be a little stealthy, hope we won't get in trouble. So yeah, that was one of the better laps on my first session, and then we had Dan take a look at the tyre temperatures when I pulled up, because we made a bunch of changes off the back of our first test session. There's a bit to go through, and I think it'd be better if we let Dan explain what he's been busy with since last month.
I can't fucking remember at all what we did. I rebuilt the rear shocks, so the rear shocks work, and then I've set everything at one click over medium all the way around. So you will have to decide how it feels and do some clicky changey things from there. But that rear shocks actually work now instead of bouncing around, so that should be a good thing. We've added camber and toe all around, so you are towed out all the fuck over the place, and I think you're like neutral at the back now, and neutral at the back and towed out at the front slightly instead of massively. Couple of degrees camber at the front, one at the rear, but we'll check tyre temp pads and stuff and see how they're wearing and whether it's sitting flat, and also how fast you go. It's good.
So in between sessions we get about 40 minutes to kind of turn everything around, fix anything that fell off. Here's Dan putting back the trumpet that the track crew very kindly picked up out of the outside of link. We actually end up using that 360 vision we showed you before to help track it down again. Then it was right back into the car. This is the second session. Not too much interesting happened here, except this little other open wheeler was warming up his tyres, and I didn't do the best job of making sure it was safe to overtake. And then it was on to the last session today where my point of view camera was changed out with a potato. This was like an action cam that I bought for $80 on a whim at a Invercargill, no leaming, and I wish I had spent a little bit more because the vision that comes out of it is pretty rough. And coming through the infield on the run into Carousel, the lap timer that we run on board the cars is a little curious, where it treats the start and finish of the lap just out of Carousel. So you'll see me look down at my lap timer and give a little fist pump, because according to the car, that is the start line. And I managed to set sort of my fastest time of the day, so I was pretty chuffed. A little bit of engineer's curse, but Dan asked me halfway through the day, "Hey, have you had any trouble with the tires falling away towards the end of the session?" And I was like, "No, it's been good." And we joked that maybe I hadn't been leaning on the car hard enough, but sure enough, got a little bit greedy, was pretty keen to get myself into the 36s and managed to find the limits of grip on the run into Carousel. That's actually my first time I've spun that way, and once I started going around, I was happy I could kind of 360 it and not stall it, because it's pretty awkward if you need a tow. So that was the end of the day. All that was left to do was muscle the car back up onto the trailer and make this video. And if you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much for hanging on until the end. I'll catch you on the next one. Like and subscribe and all that shit, I guess. Jesus.